Hey guys, welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. I got Lenny here. I got, what's that guy's name in the booth in there?
Blake.
Oh, Blake Blevins.
Young Blake Blevins.
Samuel Blake Blevins. I know that child.
You better.
Not so much of a child anymore.
No, he's a
All right.
strapping young man.
But it's happy August.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah,
the eighth month of the year.
Yeah, is that a celebration, August 1st? It's like May Day, nothing?
It could be. Okay. Well, we've already dodged 1 month of the hurricane season.
It's when you have to run across the parking lot barefoot without stepping on the lines.
Yeah,
See,
okay.
that's when we know people from New York are here. They don't know the line trick to get to the lines that are painted in the parking lot if you're barefooted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
The white's a lot better than the black, yeah.
Us Floridians time our run from line to line.
Yep.
We see the Yankees, not all New Yorkers, but all Yankees, running and trying to get to their car all in one run. Bad move. Bad move.
That'll
See, now,
scorch you.
you guys have been here long enough to know that I can share this with you now.
Yeah.
I won't lose my southern stripes.
Lenny, you're a liar.
You kind of learn that when you're trying to walk across a hot beach, too, on the sand. And there are no stripes there.
There are no stripes.
No stripes there.
You kind of create your own shade, like, whew.
Yep. That's
So,
why I
Blake, what
remember
did
my
you say?
flip-flops.
Lenny, you're only just saying it to not embarrass yourself in front of my dad. You really don't know, but you're only just saying yes.
Oh, no. The white light.
Okay.
The white attracts less heat than the dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good science lesson.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't see you as a barefoot guy.
Occasionally, but seldom in parking lots of supermarkets. I don't think that's necessarily too terribly sanitary.
Yeah. So I don't see you. I don't think you've ever had Jiffy feet.
¿Qué esto? We got peanut butter? Or
Jiffy, you don't know what Jiffy feet are?
No.
All right, so Jiffy feet are when you go into a convenience store. The convenience stores in Florida used to be called Jiffy stores.
Yeah.
All right, when you go into a convenience store barefoot, and then the bottom of your feet are just absolutely black.
Yeah.
So those are Jiffy feet.
No. We're shoeless in the house, but that's about it.
Yeah, Blake gets the worst case of Jiffy feet of any human being I've ever seen. So Blake, I don't even know. Blake he can scrub his feet; they'll be perfectly clean. He'll take 3 steps. He's got Jiffy feet. I don't know how it happens. Oh, they're pretty clean.
That's pretty clean. There
right
you
now.
go. All right.
Blake is showing his feet from the booth in there.
They look pristine.
Sorry you have to see that, Julie.
They look pristine.
we do have a parlor guest. Julie's with
Right.
us today.
My beautiful wife is with us watching the show.
Yeah. So, no, you know, and I said you're a strong 6.5, and there's a rule you can't be above, two steps above. All right. You broke that rule. All right. Because she's a 10.
Absolutely.
You're a 6.5. So I'm not sure what.
I got skills, man.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know.
I got skills.
Hey, but you know what? We got a fun show today. I appreciate everybody out there. If you would, please hit that share button. And we're going to go through our sponsors, but our whiskey of the week is Four Roses Single Barrel.
Yep.
We're going to try and finish this one off. I don't think we're going to do it tonight. We might have to take a little shot after the show.
And I always get amazed at Four Roses because I remember when I had my restaurants and bartending, Four Roses Yellow Label was a rail whiskey. It was a pouring whiskey, and then all of a sudden it got this great cachet, and the single barrel is
barrel's great.
Yeah, absolutely numbered and good stuff.
Yeah, the Four Roses. I mean, and if I'm doing an old fashioned or something like that, the Four Roses, like just the regular Four Roses works. But I mean, if I'm sipping, I do the single barrel. Yeah. So, great bourbon, great friends, and we have a good topic. Hope it might turn into a great topic depending on what information we bring to the table here.
I've got a very colorful lineup of information.
So you color coordinate. I write mine all in a line here, and each one of these is a topic, just so I can reflect back in what I read earlier today. But you color code yours.
Well, I separate them.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah, because if I put them all in one color, they'd run together, and I wouldn't be able to separate them.
Okay. Well, I go down and mark out which one as I talk to them and talk about them.
I just wipe it off at the end.
All right. Let's talk about our sponsors first, and I'm gonna let you lead off with Meehan's because you're going there.
We're
tonight.
going there for dinner tonight
Or
after
tomorrow night.
Beautiful. No, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tonight, Thursday.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Today is Thursday.
Right. After 2 weeks of grueling participatory staff cleaning and rebuilding, I give Reggie so much credit. He takes such good care of that building, that property, that they reopened on Tuesday. Got it under their belt Wednesday. We're going on Thursday for dinner, and I am looking forward to it. It's been a couple months since we've been there for dinner, and it's one of our favorite restaurants in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
They're such a great sponsor,
Yeah.
and they've been with us since the very beginning. It's 3 bars in one. Wonderful food. Let me know if the menu, because they
I was wondering. I will.
They like to shuffle that menu around.
I will.
You know, and
I was thinking about that.
It's just always amazing food. I love their curry there, their pot pie. I mean, everything they have there is great. Their fries are amazing. The mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese is great. Drunken clams.
So, all right.
And the staff. You know, you can't talk about Meehan's without talking about Reggie, who cares for the place, and the people that work for him. One of the nicest men I've ever met. And the people that work there are just wonderful.
Oh, and he keeps them because he's such a good dude.
Right. They don't turn over. Yeah.
All right. St. Augustine Distillery and City Gate Spirits. They have a new rum coming out. I got a little sneak peek of it last week. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best rum. I'm not a rum drinker, but it's one of the best rums, if not the best rum I've ever tasted. And I can't wait to have it in here and you try it out and give me your, because I do you drink much rum? I
drink a lot of rum.
Okay.
I'm very weird with rum. I'll drink about 6 different brands of rum, but each one in a different preparation.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to this one. I'll do Myers and Water, Mount Gay and Tonic. I'll do Appleton Neat because it's a 15-year or an 11-year, so it's a sipping rum, barrel aged. I'll do a gold rum and cola. I'm not a big fan of white rums, but this is going to be a white rum, but I will make an exception for them for sure. What else? Found a great rum when we were in Panama called Abuelo, which is grandfather.
Well, this one actually has a little tint to it.
That's what I was asking you. Oh,
Yeah,
good. I'm looking
does have a
forward to
little
that. Yeah,
tint to
okay. Yeah, so there may be some barrel age on it. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm excited about this.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So excited to have that new product coming out.
Right.
And one of our shows, I talked to the general manager. He's talking about having somebody come in and do some mixing for us.
Nice.
So we're gonna see if we can arrange that show,
Liking
and
that.
we'll do a history on spirits.
If we only had the ability to take the show on the road.
Yeah. Well,
Can we do remotes, Blake?
we do have that ability, but it's fragmented controlling the sound is what we've learned. So,
My voice does carry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Voices carry.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Keep it down now.
Yeah, the sound isn't as good when the microphone's way too far away. But it also doesn't work when the mic's up too close.
And when we do the Mike Lewis show and Lenny leans like this, and
Well, tomorrow I'll be front and center, so that's all right.
Yeah,
can we get one of those Janet Jackson mics that those earphone mics that are right here?
Yeah,
let's get fancy.
Hey, did I ever tell you that? Because you guys didn't go to my trivia show when it was at Panama Hattie's, the old Panama Hattie's.
No.
So I thought I was going to be cool and I was going to get this wireless mic. Yeah, I forgot to turn it off when I went to the bathroom.
It's a little intimate.
Yeah. It was a very Archie Bunker moment.
There you go.
So, all right, moving forward, not very Archie Bunker, but the best in town, Abare, Kresge and Associates, best CPAs in town. These guys, I trust them with all my businesses. I trust them with my private stuff, all my personal stuff, and you can't get any better when it comes to accounting and tax services. All right, St. Augustine Pirate Museum. Can't say enough about how wonderful they are and what they do in the community. They have the oak, they have the taberna, they have the bull and crown, and at the museum itself, they have over 800 original artifacts.
Fabulous.
And they just do an amazing job, constantly evolving. All right, Kaiser's Deli and Market. You know anything about this place?
I know a little bit. Yeah, I fill in there from time to time and can throw a sandwich around with the best of them. And for those of you scoring at home, it's solely Boar's Head products, but everything has been replaced. There's no issue about any of the listeria contamination. You can eat there with confidence and pleasure. Okay. Makes a hell of a sandwich, that man does.
I didn't know anything about. Was there a Boar's Head?
There was a big, huge.
Really?
Well, there was a small Boar's Head. There was a limited run. It started with the liverwurst in one plant in, I think, Virginia. And, anything else that was done in that line in that plant had potential to be contaminated. A number of people got sick, and sadly, 2 people died. So they did a recall.
I was going to make a joke about Zillennials, but I didn't realize somebody passed.
So they made, so they did a recall, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was like 7 million pounds. I mean, it was just some humongous number of product they then recalled everything.
Oh, okay.
But
well, it's better to be safe. In this
absolutely.
situation.
And as far as the deli's concerned, they were at Kaiser's. Where are we? This is Thursday. I guess they were there on Tuesday and replaced everything. So he's got all fresh
that's awesome.
product, all safe product, not to worry about a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Coquina Coast Realty, any of your real estate needs, give me a call at 904-669-7901. I do have an apartment available downtown. So it's a 1-bedroom apartment downtown. You can walk anywhere. It includes power and water, so you don't have to pay for those
It's a savings.
those deposits. So give me a call, 904-669-7901. All right, Cheshire Custom and Collisions. These guys have towing. They do the best job in town. If you get a little nick or ding or you get into an accident and you're like, oh, I want this car to look the way it originally did, these are the guys to go to, Cheshire's Custom and Collision. All right, word origin. I didn't ask you. I gave up what mine was, but I didn't ask you what yours was. What was yours?
Well, we've been watching a lot of the Olympics. Julie and I have been watching a lot of the Olympics, and you see
because you're a Snoop Dogg fan.
He's doing great.
Yeah, no,
he's
fun.
He was doing some
fun.
badminton commentation, and it was pretty wild. Though I have utmost respect for Flavor Flav because this man is single-handedly sponsoring the women's water polo team.
Oh, there you go.
One on the team reached out to him, or put something on Instagram, and said, it really is a shame that we're school teachers, we're nurses, we have 2 and 3 jobs to support ourselves so that we can play water polo. And Flavor Flav says, I'm a girl dad. That's not good. And he is sponsoring the women's water polo team. He's donating money, time, equipment, anything they need, he will provide for them. He's become, the woman when she finished, I said, I'm going to start wearing a clock in honor.
Yeah.
And he's there. He's at the events. He's great. I think this is fabulous. Fabulous.
Well, it's funny because, I met both gentlemen, and one is a giant.
Yes.
And the other one's a dwarf.
Right.
So, it was kind of like Kevin Hart and Snoop when they did some stuff last Olympics, and now they pick. Do they have to have somebody extremely short next to Snoop every time? Or
nope, he's just loving life. He was doing the badminton, and he was having the time of his life when he was calling out the badminton game.
Well, he ran the 200-meter too, didn't he?
He carried the torch.
Yeah.
He's a compatriot of yours. He was a torch bearer.
Yeah.
He wasn't moving too fast, but he was doing. He was. I'll give him points. Snoop was styling. He is talk about somebody who has become more mainstream than anybody you know. And you know what? He and Martha Stewart.
Well,
best buds.
He's done less time than Martha.
That's true too. Very true.
So gangster. So
okay. So in watching the Olympics,
yes,
in watching the gymnastics, they're always constantly going into the chalking up, blowing it off. The men's gymnasts, the women's gymnasts. So I said, chalk it up. So that's my word origin is chalk it up.
Okay.
So when you say chalk it up, there's always something that comes after it.
I thought it was from billiards, but am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you can chalk the Q for sure, but that's not where it came from.
That's not where it originated.
No.
Okay.
But it's to chalk it up in contemporary nomenclature is to attribute a result to something. Chalk it up to the weather. We didn't do well today because the weather was bad, or we did really well today because the weather was good. Chalk it up to good weather. Chalk it up to bad weather. Chalk it up. He's so successful. Chalk it up to experience. Or we're not doing well. Well, you got to chalk it up to the economy. So it's ascribing credit somewhere. But where the expression came about, it's an old expression, and it goes back a ways to the custom of writing somebody's outstanding balance on a chalkboard.
Okay.
And, primarily in bars, and you would chalk up what their roses are. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where that comes from.
Yeah. And still, many bars today still have a chalkboard in the back that you never see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he walked out. Sometimes regulars get overserved.
Right.
And they'll leave, and they'll go on the chalkboard.
But I would say our hometown local in Long Beach, a magnificent place called Nolan's, which I walked in when I was 18, and I really still haven't left, except I'm just not there as frequently as we used to be.
You're just physically not there.
Exactly. Still where I do all my box pools for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
But when you play bar pool, people put their quarters up, line up their quarters.
Yeah.
Well, until they started putting states and pictures and stuff on them, your quarters and my quarters looked exactly the same. And it was always get into a little tumult when somebody said, well, those are my quarters. No, those are my quarters. Nolan's, civilized, chalkboard. You put your initials on the board. When your game's up, you cross it off, and that you never have a problem of knowing whose game is next.
Gotcha. Well, that's the way it should be everywhere.
Yep.
All right.
What do you got?
Have you ever boycotted anything?
From time to time.
Yeah, and I'll boycott. I'll put a time limit usually on it. Like if I get bad service at a restaurant, I'll boycott that restaurant for like 6 months,
hoping that the server is gone and not there again.
Well, it's just they got to work harder for my money.
Right.
I work hard for my money, so I expect them to work harder for my money, and it takes a lot to get boycotted by me. So I wanted to find out where boycott came from.
Okay.
So you have any clue?
No, but in this day and age, I wonder why it's also not girl caught.
Yeah. Well, it has nothing to do with gender.
Okay.
So it's not them, they. It's not them caught.
Right.
But it goes back to the 1880s.
Okay.
And England's always been a bad player with Ireland.
Yes.
They've always been a bad player
Yes.
with Ireland. And at this point, England was trying to decide who had control over the land and who had ownership of the land in Ireland. So they would send out workers to be tax collectors for land leases or something like that. Well, in Ireland, in this small little island off of Ireland, they sent out a gentleman to be the collector. His name was Charles Boycott.
Okay.
The Irish all got together and said, we're not going to pay him. We're not going to do the work that they want us to do. We're not going to do any of these things. So from the 1880s in that small little island in Ireland, the word boycott came to be, and then it spread throughout Ireland, and then it spread throughout all the other countries. So it came from one gentleman who basically was a tax collector for no other purpose, a government worker for England, and his name was Charles Boycott, and his name will live on forever.
Interesting. And, as we're in the middle of the Olympics, we've had Olympic boycotts in the last 40 years or so.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the one that, I was really into sports in 1980.
80, yeah. Uh-huh.
And, the Summer Olympics were, I never really liked the Winter Olympics a whole lot, even though, do you believe in miracles game and stuff like that. But I was a Summer Olympics guy.
Sure, track and field.
In Wide World of Sports. And you were in there. I mean, track and field was amazing. And I was just like, well, this isn't even fun.
Right.
Because the U.S. just dominated everybody in that Olympics. So, and then the U.S. not in that Olympics, in the L.A. Olympics in '84.
Right.
But in the '80 Olympics, they didn't even go to the '80 Olympics because Carter said we're not going.
Right.
But in '84, Russia wasn't there.
Right. They returned the favor.
And then the U.S. dominated then.
Yeah.
Do you
now
think
Russia's not there now? But I don't know if they're as big a power as they once were. Because the Soviet Union, when the Soviet Union broke up, they kind of lost a little bit of their flavor.
Yeah, and right, But what the funny thing is now, the old joke used to be, if you had a bad score, you could always blame it on the East German judge.
Yeah, the Russian judge.
And there was it was always East German judge.
Yeah.
And a 3 from the East German judge. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I actually have a personal theory about the 1980 Olympics. I personally believe I know I wasn't alive for it, but I somehow there's part of my brain that thinks that the Carter telling the U.S. Olympic Committee not to go to Moscow cost Carter the election somehow, because in my head I personally think the athletes should have still went to Moscow because who doesn't want to see the U.S. athletes kick the USSR's ass in their home territory?
Yeah, and we were pretty dominant in Summer Olympics, but I don't think that has much to do with it as a freak sandstorm that hit when he tried Iron Eagle, I think was the mission, and it ended up taking out 2 helicopters, and a freak sandstorm hit where the mission to save the Iranian hostages.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it almost made his presidency look incompetent.
Right.
And because he was so tied up with the Iranian stuff, he really didn't campaign.
Right.
So, compared to what's happening today in campaigns and stuff and people working and all of that, he really didn't campaign because he
had to be president.
Here's probably a guy who's probably the best non-president after president that I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, he won his Nobel Prize, and he could have won when he was president. You know, with the whole salt too stuff. But he won his Nobel Peace Prize for Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could have a Baptist saint because you know Saint Jimmy Carter is way up there because he is very saintly. I will say.
Yeah. How old is he now?
Is he 99?
Is he 100 yet?
Pulling up.
I mean, the answer is very. He's very old.
He's the oldest living president we've ever had.
Jimmy Carter.
Yep.
So
The peanut guy, 99. He turns 100 on October 1st.
October 1st. All right. So he might be our first 100-year-old president.
Centenarian. Okay.
All right.
Please hold on. Please hold on.
So, he's supposed to die like 6 times. Yeah, brain. The
He's
brain
a fighter.
tumor went away.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Like I said, I mean, miracle. He's a saint.
All right. We're talking about strange or weirdest promotions in sports. Mm-hmm. I have like 10. You have like 20. I can't tell exactly how many you have, but they're color coded.
A lot.
They're color coded. Give me the weirdest one you have, because we're obviously not going to get to all of these.
Well, the weirdest one I think could very well be Swipe Right Night by the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
And it was Swipe Right Night, which was, by the way, screw up dyslexic people like me.
You swipe right. Swipe right.
No. Chinese gay. Yes. I'd be going no. And it was a promotion with Tinder.
Okay.
And you know, if you were in the area, you could swipe right, and they had it set up as well that they made it possible that you could actually meet the person who you connected with in real life because they set up some swipe right suites.
Oh, okay.
That were stocked with roses and Altoids, I guess, just in case.
Yeah, Altoids are important.
And that was it. And, you know, after that game, for quite some time, the Tinder and the Atlanta Hawks were really trending. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the odder ones.
That's actually a good one, though.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the ones I have here were just horrible.
Right. Well,
you know, they just were terrible. You know, the most famous one and the one that was probably the worst one at all was 10-cent beer night at the Indians game against the Rangers in 1974.
Okay.
So basically, you could get 10 beers for $1, and they had no limit on it. It wasn't like you could have only 3 beers for 10 cents. Right. There was zero limit on it. So in like the 6th inning, a guy jumps on the field naked, runs over. The MVP, Jeff Burrows, for the Texas Rangers, he had like 3 great years. Many people don't know who I'm talking about.
Right.
But he won MVP that year. You know, the guy stole his hat. All right. And none of the security guard wanted to tackle the naked guy. So there were several people that jumped on the field, a lot of stuff that was happening, but it was, to me, by far one of the worst ones. And there's been a couple of forfeits that have taken place because of these promotions.
Well, that was, you know, the Disco Demolition Night in 1979 at Comiskey.
They had that one, and then there was one, a baseball night where they gave out baseballs at Dodger Stadium. And they were using them as projectiles, throwing them at the opposing team.
Well, that's why they don't have bat nights anymore either, or bat giveaways.
Yeah.
Though there was one that I think, you know, I think is one of the funniest ones ever. You know, there was a baseball promoter and a baseball owner, Bill Veeck. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it might have been the Phillies or the Philadelphia team, because then it became Oakland team. I think Bill Veeck was affiliated with the Oakland Athletics and by pre-extension. Right, Philadelphia and then Oakland. And I'm pretty sure that was Bill Veeck. And Blake, if you're on it, let me know. Mm-hmm. And he's got a son, Mike Veeck. And Bill Veeck was just, you know, a promotional genius. Mm-hmm. At one point in time, he put a midget up as in a Major League game.
Eddie Goodell.
Yeah. And you know what? They couldn't get a strike on the guy.
Yeah, he ended up walking.
He had no strike zone.
Can you pull up the picture of Eddie Goodell at the plate?
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
And then another time, he went out and took a Cleveland Indians pennant and put it on a horse-drawn caisson. Mm-hmm. A caisson being the carriage that will take a casket. Mm-hmm. the most memorable one is when Kennedy was assassinated and they went down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol, and it was on that horse-drawn caisson. Well, he had a horse-drawn caisson, take the pennant out to center field, dug it up, and buried it in center field. He got some serious blowback from Major League Baseball over that one.
Well, I mean, isn't he did Eddie Goodell, but I think when he was with the A's, he's the one who brought back Satchel Paige as a spoof. And Satchel
wasn't such a spoof.
Satchel ended up pitching 3 innings, like of no-run innings at like age 56.
Yeah. So I said, not such a spoof.
Yeah, no, my arm would fall off if I threw like 5 pitches.
Well, Satchel
there he
Paige
is. That's Eddie right there. That is an actual Major League Baseball game.
And you can see where the catcher's got the ball is over the kid's head.
Yeah, he wasn't a kid; he was a full-grown man.
Right. Well, yeah.
So just to confirm, what do you want me to look up again, Mr. Lenny?
Just if Bill Veeck was the Philadelphia and the Oakland franchises.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was with the Satchel Paige thing.
And he had a son.
They actually had and for the Satchel Paige, I think it was in like 65 or something like that. And they had Satchel, instead of going to the dugout, they would sit him in a rocking chair outside the dugout in between innings. So see if you can Google Satchel Paige rocking chair.
What a phenomenal ball player Satchel Paige was. What an inspirational ball player.
And
if he wasn't forced into the Negro leagues by segregation at the time, can you imagine what records he would have had? They're starting to combine them now.
No one really knows how old he was,
including him.
Some people said he was possibly in his 60s when he pitched in 65. But here's a guy who struck out every. Is that it right there?
Yep.
Yeah, that's him sitting in the rocking. But that was in between innings for that game.
Well, Bill Veeck had a son, Mike Veeck, who actually would do promotional. I guess conferences or classes for minor league and major league teams. And Mike Veeck came up with some wacky promotions.
He probably had one of the most disastrous nights of all.
Right.
Which was the disco demolition night, where you would destroy your
disco records,
your LPs. It wasn't on your iPhone.
No. This
it was actual vinyl.
Right? Yep.
And they would break them and destroy them and throw them, and people were throwing them on the field.
I think they blew them up.
They did that, which was part of the actual promotion, but there was also people using them as frisbees.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
And throwing them on the field, and that's why they had to cancel the game.
Well, right, and this was back in the days when they were double headers.
Yeah.
So it was between the games.
Let's play 3.
Right. Yeah, well, easy, Ernie. So it was between the games, and it ended up being a riot that the cops had to come in and quell the riot in Chicago, which is used to quelling riots. The Chicago PD.
It's pretty regular.
The White Sox ended up forfeiting the second game of the doubleheader.
All right. So you mentioned something about a casket in
the caisson,
in the outfield. So the Hagerstown Suns had a funeral night.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, they had a funeral night, but it was the winner of one lucky participant won a free casket, a free service, a free plot, and all of that all in one night. Sold out, and it was worth $6,500. And Hagerstown Suns, they had a funeral night. So,
hey,
it was a very deadpan audience.
Blake, Troy, did you guys ever watch? I can't believe it's going to escape me now. One of the funniest shows ever, Brockmire. Have you ever seen Brockmire?
Never seen it.
Oh my goodness! I
saw Aaron Brockovich.
Nope. Well, I got news for you. The show opens with, in Pennsylvania, fire coming out of the ground because of fracking.
Oh, yeah.
But it's...
what's it on, Netflix or something? Or
I don't know. It might have been on HBO. It might have been on HBO.
I don't even
It's about...
I don't remember.
It's about a guy who was a...
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
He was a... He was a announcer for the Kansas City Royals, I believe. And he was a drunk. and he would get drunk on air, and he would just, he finally ended up drinking himself off the airwaves.
Well, it's pretty common.
And
I'm
trying to remember who the hell played him because he was brilliant.
Well, I know there was a Kansas City Royal. Kansas City Royal.
Hank Azaria.
Hank Azaria, thank you very much.
Julie was over there trying to get your attention.
Beat ya.
But there was a Kansas City Royal announcer that was a drug user, and he actually lost his hearing because of it.
Oh.
Yeah, he was George Brett's best friend.
Well, it's funny because
You know who I'm talking about.
no.
Blake, please tell him.
Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's where he started. He started as a Kansas City Royal announcer. Him and George Brett became best friends. They were best friends, and George Brett was the best man at his wedding. But he lost his hearing because of.
Well, George Brett was in this show.
Okay.
I think he actually married one of Brockmeyer's ex-wives, or his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
The show is hysterical. But it's about a minor league. He finally makes a comeback as an announcer for a minor league ball club in Pennsylvania, in the oil fracking fields. And they're just on the balls of their ass. And he gets in there, and it's brilliant. First of all, Hank Azaria was funnier than can be in this thing. But they tried to revive this ball
Sounds
club.
like something I'd love.
You really would.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. It's 3 seasons. The first season was brilliant. The second season was really good. And the third season got a little bit,
All right, guess what?
shark junking.
If it's on Netflix, guess what I'm downloading? So
Yep. It's so good.
So.
And it was brilliant. You had, a lot of real life people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think who it was. It wasn't Ernie Johnson. Ernie Johnson was in it, but
did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
oh, every one of them.
Yeah.
Twice, as a matter of fact. Twice.
Great show.
Yep, twice.
So would you put Brockmeyer in Ted Lasso or a tier below?
Different.
Okay.
Tier below? No, they're different. They're just different.
Okay.
But Mike Veck, just to come back to Mike Veck for 1 second, his mind was just a terrible thing to waste. He had a promotion, vasectomy night.
Whoa.
Canceled it about 3 hours after they announced it. That one didn't go off.
Yeah.
But he had one of my favorites. You know what he was saying? They don't do bat nights anymore. He had Tanya Harding bat night.
Yeah, that would completely make sense to me.
Absolutely. And then he had marriage counseling night. So these were all for teams that were doing that.
Yeah, I think,
too funny.
I think one of my the funnier ones that I saw and I loved to see was Derek Lowe poster night. Did you hear anything about this?
No.
It was in 2002. Derek Lowe is the closer for the Boston Red Sox. They have Derek Lowe poster night. Derek Lowe comes into the game. Red Sox have a 3-run lead. Derek gives up 5 in the 9th. All right? All the posters, some were lit on fire, but all the posters came onto the field. Derek, what do you feel like if you're Derek Lowe? Here's a guy, all-star pitcher, amazing all-star pitcher. The guy that the Red Sox have leaned on for the last couple of years. They have a poster night for him. He blows the save, and all of Boston turned on him. Like they almost caught the stadium on fire. It's an old stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Fenway's an old
for
stadium.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It could easily burn
Can you
down.
imagine the Green Monster on fire? Oh my goodness.
It could easily have burnt down.
Oh, that's actually going to be a scene in the next Jerry Bruckheimer movie.
Yeah. So I thought that one was one of the funnier ones.
This is literally the poster right here. So someone saved a copy of it.
I was going to say, if somebody kept one, they've got a collector's item. That's worth money now.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Literacy champion Derek Lowe.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Save champion Derek Lowe.
Yeah.
Well, I got one for you. The Dodgers, man, what a money-packed franchise they are. On
Third oldest stadium.
now, yeah. Chavez Ravine, yeah, we were there. We were there a couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
and we took my nephew there, and he likes sitting behind home plate in the upper deck. I mean, fine, it's a great view. You've got a great perspective of the game, but we decided to take the stairs.
Oh my.
If I didn't have a heart attack and die on the spot there, I'm going to make it. I'm telling you, it was just ridiculous. I mean, that's high up there, and the stairs. It's when you start getting, the returns are smaller and smaller because there's like, you start with a flight of 20 stairs and then 18. By the time you get into the last set, it's like 10 stairs, and oh man, and then you get to the top, and then you got to come down to get to the rail because we had seats right at the rail.
My elevator at the Treasury building has been going wackadoodle.
Yeah,
and I have to go to the roof to reset it every time. So it's equivalent of about 9 flights. It's only 7, but it's equivalent of about 9 flights because of the height of the building.
And Lenny?
Yeah, that's been fun. I actually cramped up a little bit last night when I was sleeping, and I felt my calf, and I was like,
there is nothing worse than
elevator,
a night cramp in your leg and your thigh or your.
So did you cramp up the night after?
No,
the
no. It was
warm.
It was warm, and I lubricated myself with some good expensive beer.
Okay.
But
it's not like 10-cent beer night.
No, not. It's like a 24-ounce can for $19.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's egregious. But did at least when you're up on the roof, do you at least take a minute and enjoy the view?
No, because you have to. Elevator room is separate. It's on the roof, and it's its own room on the roof. So there's no view from the elevator room.
All right.
And these elevators have been there since
was it 21?
27.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've been there since 27. They were redone in 67, which is the exact year I was born. And I know how often I break down. So
and I know how old you are. There you go.
Yeah,
right.
So I can't really blame them.
No.
But so the Dodgers Stadium, you went all the way to the
top. Absolutely.
Have you ever been to any of those stadiums? And they have it in Miami. And a lot of the stadiums were built this way, probably in the 90s, where they have the spirals around the corners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Going to the top level of one of those stadiums where it's literally like you almost make yourself sick walking in a circle.
Yeah, Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands. Yeah, in Secaucus is that the four corners are those giant.
The spirals.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I can't stand it. So.
But okay, so
any stadium that has that gets a low rating for me.
Yeah.
So.
But so let's do Dodgers. I want to finish one thought on the Dodgers because on May 16th.
Do we have to?
Well, May 16th.
I really don't like
this
the
year.
Dodgers.
It's okay.
Okay.
They did a Shawnee Tony bobblehead night.
Uh-huh.
They needed 40,000 of them, and people lined up 4 hours ahead of time to make sure they got one.
Wow.
They're doing a second Shawnee Tony bobblehead night on August 12th. I went through the Dodgers promotional calendar. They have 18 days where they're giving away bobbleheads. 18 days.
Wow.
I mean, they're all not ball players. There's some wacky stuff. They're doing a Will Smith bobblehead. Maybe there is a.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe there is a Will Smith.
Does it have Chris Rock going? Ah!
I don't know. But the wackiest one, and Julie and I were watching the Mets game. It was the Subway Series, which, just for those of you scoring at home, the Mets swept all 4 games against the Yankees, 2 at Citi Field, 2 at Yankee Stadium. Thank you very much. But the Yankees keep doing what you're doing and beat up on Philadelphia. I hope they play Atlanta and crush them.
Well, that's all in good. But I mean, how many titles do the Mets have?
They got enough. They got the one that I was at.
They got 2.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
What are you?
Were you at 86 or at 69?
No, 86.
Okay.
69 was back when they did baseball during the day. Yeah. And I was listening to the game with a transistor radio and an earplug.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was when they and the teachers weren't hip to that. So it was really good because I did it at 69 against the Orioles was fabulous. Yeah. 86 I was at one of the games and it was great. I also had the pleasure of going to an All-Star game the year they put lights into Wrigley Field, and Wrigley Field got the All-Star game. I love baseball. I really do. But Julie and I are watching the game, and nowadays they advertise stuff in back of home plate. Mm-hmm. So there's always some kind of video monitor or something moving back there. And we're looking at it.
It's a green screen.
Yep. Well, sometimes, right.
Everyone else in the stadium, but it's like on TV. They're constantly changing it.
Yep. Yeah. And it was Eli Manning bobblehead night. I'm going, wait a second. What the?
Where?
At Yankee Stadium. It's coming up. Eli Manning bobblehead night.
Well, I guess most Giants fans are Yankee fans.
Well, what it is, it's the 100th season of the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
They're doing Eli Manning bobblehead night, and they've got 18,000 of them. Mm-hmm. Shawnee and Tony, 40,000.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, we got to see Ohtani actually get a hit against
the Mets.
last year.
Sorry.
He
gets hit against everybody.
He got a double. He got a double against the Mets last year.
Yeah. So I was actually looking at the promotional schedule for the games we're going to. There's nothing going on the Friday at the Yankees game, unfortunately. But for us at Nationals on Saturday, there's a giveaway. It's Harry Potter Day at the Nationals game.
Great.
Do you have to pick your house?
Butter beer.
Ooh.
Maybe
they'll get a scarf.
They have to put a hat on us and
pick your.
What house do you think you're from?
Well, it sure's in Slytherin.
I'm clearly a Slytherin.
Yeah, not me. No. I'm too nice a guy.
Yeah.
Ask me, I'll tell you.
Yeah. That sounds like a Slytherin statement right there.
Well, see, across all the teams. Now this is all sports. They average every third game is a promotional game across all sports. Mm-hmm. There's about 27 per year per team. 2/3 of them are giveaways, and about a fifth of them involve a bobblehead.
Okay.
Now, I looked to see what there was football promotions.
Well, the funny one of the ones, and I have two Mariners things, but the one I didn't write down is the Mariners had a player named Jeff Hammonds, which is great. He was a good ball player, solid ball player. They had his bobblehead scheduled. He got traded 2 weeks earlier. They still gave out his bobblehead. They still gave out his bobblehead.
They're committed. Yeah, once they make those suckers, they're committed. So. Now, you mentioned Marlin Stadium, and we were there years ago when they had the big freaking dolphin and porpoise and the whole thing. There was that whole light up thing on the side in I guess right field. Yeah, it's not there anymore. I don't believe. I think they took that whole thing down. But they have a bobblehead museum in that ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I would tell you the name of it, but it changed 6 times.
We
so
saw
I don't
that.
remember.
We did saw it. It was.
I saw that, and it's not just it's all teams. It's not.
Oh yeah, no, it's not once. They've got 500 different bobbleheads in there. Every team is represented. Non-ball players are represented, and they're on different shelves.
Hall of Famers.
But the shelves vibrate, so the heads are all bobbling for the most part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really very cool. Very cool.
All right, we got to go over some sponsors real quick.
Sure.
Cheshire's Custom and Collisions. You got any dings or nicks on your car, give them a call. Cheshire's Custom and Collisions. Coquina Coast Realty, commercial, residential, rentals, leases, any of those things, give me a call, 904-669-7901. Kaiser's Deli and Market, wonderful deli.
Safe to eat.
Wonderful deli, great market. Try the Bollox. Tell them to do half and half. Pastrami and turkey.
Yep.
All right. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. I'm telling you right now, this is a museum you cannot miss. You have friends in town. Get over there. Go see them. It is a wonderful place. Abare, Kresge and Associates, the best CPAs in town. Meehan's back open this week. Completely new floors and some other stuff in the kitchen. And
Thursday night dinner.
Yeah. So it's just wonderful, wonderful food over there. Tell Reggie we said hi. And St. Augustine Distillery and Citygate Spirits, best tasting tours in the country. New flavors coming out
peach.
all the time.
That's all I say is try the peach.
The peach at the Citygate's amazing. So, all right. So I want to go with the one I found as my favorite one, and I didn't know this one happened. It happened in 2009.
Okay.
All right. And it was Chicago Blackhawks. I'm not a huge Blackhawks fan, but I love this. I guess there's a tradition in hockey where, like in football, you get the game ball or you get some recognition or something like that in a lot of sports. Well, I guess the Blackhawks were giving out hard hats for the guy who worked the hardest in the game and stuff like that. So they did a promotion where they did a Blackhawks hard hat giveaway. So they gave out like 10,000 hard hats to the thing. So Jonathan Toews, a Blackhawks player, scores the third goal. And the tradition of...
It's called a hat trick.
It's called a hat trick.
Yep.
Is you basically sacrifice your hat.
Yeah.
You should always take 2 hats with you when you go to a hockey game. Yep. But you sacrifice your hat and you throw it onto the ice. They pick up the height. Well, everyone had a hard hat. So what did they do? They threw their hard hats onto the ice. Problem was, there was a review, and the goal was disallowed. So now all these people gave up their hard hats. But luckily, 10 minutes later, Jonathan Toews, he actually scored a real goal that was legit, and then everybody else threw their hard hats on. So if you're lucky enough to hold on to your hard hat, you ended up losing at the second go-round.
Right. It's like the Derek Lowe poster. The one person who didn't give it up and now has a real collector's item because nobody else has any left.
See if you can find that hard hat, Blake. We'll see how good a research you got going on in there.
Okay, so I'll start with your Cincinnati Reds because I'm very, very impressed by them. In 2022, they did a promotion for Jerry Garcia's 80th birthday.
Okay.
And I've got to get this hat somewhere. I mean, I'll sacrifice the fact that I'm a Mets fan and I might wear the Cincinnati hat. But it was a Cincinnati Reds hat with the Cincinnati C. And over it, most of you know that Jerry Garcia didn't have a piece of his middle finger. And, anytime you see a bumper sticker or a shirt or anything like this, it's in reference to Jerry Garcia. Well, that was on the placard of the hat over the Cincinnati C.
Oh, wow.
Yep, it's one of the coolest hats. Blake, you can probably look that up too. There you go.
Right there.
You are so good, Blake. Look at that. That's a great hat. It really is.
So
for you, Cincinnati,
it's got the C in the palm of the hand.
And the Jerry finger.
That's a cool hat.
Well, you know what? This year, on August 2nd, they're doing Jerry Garcia's birthday tie-dye jersey. Now, I don't think his birthday was the 2nd. It may be. But they're doing a tie-dye jersey for Jerry Garcia. Again, so the Cincinnati Reds keep doing Jerry Garcia promotions. I think that's fabulous. So does the most logical team to be doing that, the San Francisco Giants.
Yes.
They're also doing a tie-dye Jerry Garcia tribute, a tie-dye jersey.
Was he a baseball fan?
He may have been. I mean,
I never heard of Garcia being a baseball fan, but
he and Bob Weir have done the national anthem at Giants games for years.
Yeah,
a lot. But I think you and Blake will appreciate this. San Francisco is doing an autism acceptance night. Okay. As one of their nights. And that's why I brought up Will Clark, because it's autism acceptance night, and the giveaway is a Will Clark hat.
Okay.
So, but I thought that was nice.
And you said you felt like Will was kind of
a he's a dick.
He was a guy who would scrap. Yeah. But I was fortunate enough I got to hang out with him a couple times because my roommate and his roommate in college were brothers. So my roommate was Leonard Thigpen. Bobby Thigpen, who set the saves record for the White Sox, was Will's at Mississippi State. And our other roommate, Rob Ducey, was both my roommate and Leonard, his brother, and also Bobby's roommate.
Wow.
So and Rob Ducey played with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was the first Canadian to be drafted to make it to the Blue Jays. Huh. But when Bobby went to Japan, he said, "Hey, Ducey was like a backup outfielder for like the Angels at the time. He's like, Deuce, get over here. There's good money over here."
Yeah.
So Ducey went over there for a couple of years and joined Bobby again over there. So, but Will, my relationship with Will was through those two guys, and I always thought he was a funny dude.
Well,
he's got a podcast now.
He's a damn good ball player. You can't take that away from him. Will Clark was an obnoxiously good ball player. When you were playing against him, he would beat you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just why. I don't like him.
I think he was just one of those guys like, if you're a Yankee fan, you love Billy Martin.
Right.
If
you're anybody else,
If you're a Met fan, you love Bud Harrelson.
Always.
If you're a Reds fan, you loved Pete Rose.
Yep.
And anybody else.
Well, if you're a baseball fan, you got to love Pete Rose.
I don't know about that. I think there's a lot of Dodger fans that would disagree with that.
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in Vegas. Goes back, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years, maybe a little bit more than that. Mm-hmm. And in the Caesar's Palace, there's got the Forum shops, and there were two not far away from each other. Sports memorabilia shops in the Forum shops. Well, there were two people signing autographs that day. One was, I want to say, Gordie Howe.
Okay.
And the other was Pete Rose.
Gotcha.
Gordie Howe had a line out the door. Pete Rose had some guy who looked like Lou Costello trying to be his hype man, walking up and down going, Pete Rose autographs, Pete Rose autographs. Come on. There was nobody getting Pete Rose's autograph. I'm telling you with my own eyes.
I find that hard to believe because, I can tell you, Pete Rose, what do we got there, Blake? I can't
baseball.
I bet on baseball. Right. Pete Rose signature.
Well, I can tell you this. 5 years ago, Blake, I can't remember when it was. You weren't on this trip with me, but I was in Vegas and I had a killer hand and somebody who was sitting at the table was like, "Oh, that's Pete Rose," and I was like. I stayed with my hand.
Right. Yeah.
I stayed with my hand, but I couldn't. But it was 100% him, and he literally walked 3 feet behind me, and I never got a chance to talk to him.
He's big and heavy these days.
Yeah.
Well, we have a very
he's got that. I mean, he's what 84.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, he's
let him in. You know, he bet on baseball. So what? Let him in.
Yeah.
You know, the man when he was playing, he made baseball very exciting.
Oh no,
Charlie Hustle, come on.
There was no game he ever played in that he was trying to lose.
Right.
So I mean, he tried to win every single game, and he loved the game of baseball.
Absolutely. So he goes up to Cooperstown every year for Hall of Fame weekend.
He's not a sweetheart of a human being.
No, he goes up to Cooperstown every year for Hall of Fame weekend, and our friend Matt Dwyer goes up there, and every year he has one goal: get Pete Rose to sign something that will embarrass the shit out of him. He's had him sign jocks. He's had him sign underwear. And Pete Rose says, "You're paying for it? I'll write on it." Because, you know, these autographs aren't free. You're buying the autograph. So Matt has a collection of Pete Rose autographs on some of the most strangest things.
Well, I mean, these guys they're making more money now than they were when they were playing.
Sure. Back then, yeah.
I mean, like the top player, I think in like when the Big Red Machine was going on, Ken Griffey Jr. made $18,000 that year.
Yeah.
In like 75. And the top player made 200,000, which was bench.
Right.
So, and he was like the highest paid guy in the league.
Right. Now, at least he didn't have to have a second job, but up until I would say probably the 70s, a lot of baseball players had to have second jobs.
But they all did. They all had second jobs. I mean, Pete and Johnny owned a car dealership together. You know, Johnny did the baseball bunch. Johnny did a ton of commercials. I mean, a lot of endorsements. Pete did a lot of endorsements.
But if you had car
Johnny
dealership,
was the Krylon paint guy. Into his 60s.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, some of those guys, if you had car dealerships, you know, John Elway does very well for himself with his car dealerships.
Oh yeah,
that's how Bud Selig became, you know, Bud Selig. He was a car dealer.
Well, I mean, the guy who has the NASCAR teams, Hendrick. I mean, that's where his money's from.
Hendrick's Motorsports. Sure. Yeah.
That's where his money's from. I mean, you know, a lot of these guys make the money not so much on the field, but off the field. And
nowadays
is it Shaquille O'Neal who never used his? He only lived off of his endorsement money. He never spent his playing money. All of that went straight to investments.
Well, that was like Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah. Oh, did he do the same thing?
Oh, Gronk didn't spend money. He just, you know, and he got a big load of endorsement money after the fact, you know, with all his commercials.
He still is.
Absolutely.
He's still in like USAA.
Yep.
Insurance.
Yep.
And he wasn't even in the military.
No.
His family
That's
was
why
in
he
the
can't get
military.
it. Right. He can't get it.
Yeah.
Poor Rob Gronkowski. Though I don't think he has to worry about being able to afford his insurance.
All right. The other Mariners promotion, and the Mariners always have struggled with the
Oh, hey, real quick.
Yes,
you always complain about Lenny leaning away from the microphone.
Am I doing it tonight?
But however, every time you go down to the paper, the head moves away from the microphone, so your audio always sounds like.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pot calling Keller Black over here.
Well, Lenny leans away. I leaned into. So we're opposites again. All right. So the Mariners, the one that I liked that the Mariners did was Jay Bruner, and I love Jay Bruner as a player. He was a scrappy player.
Yep.
He had the similar barber.
Right.
And they did Jay Bruner Buzz Night. Now Jay Bruner played right field for the Mariners. He was him and Ken Griffey Jr. Were best friends.
Solid ball player.
You know, still best friends. Solid ball player. Not a Hall of Famer, but a fan favorite guy. Right. And they did Jay Bruner Buzz Night. So if you came in with a Buzz haircut, man or woman, you had a free ticket in the right field bleachers. All right. Not only if you came in with the Buzz haircut, if you wanted to get your hair cut there, they had people cutting your hair. And before the game, Jay Bruner, after batting practice, came out and gave like 10 people buzzes of their hair. I felt like, oh, there it is right there. There
nice.
it is. That's him giving the Buzz haircut right there.
To sweet old granny right there.
Yeah, to a grandma, you know. And to me, I think that was one of my favorite ones that I read, and I completely forgot about it altogether. So,
Yeah,
Blake,
there's
what do
some
we got?
clever
Like
stuff.
5 minutes left.
Yeah, I believe so. We have like 5 minutes left, but I still can't believe the Yankees traded him away for Ken Phelps.
Oh, gosh.
So
One of the worst trades.
here's something that happens, I guess, more frequently than I knew. It's called ambush baseball.
Okay.
And it's not as bad as it sounds. Ambush baseball actually won the 2015 promo of the year according to Ballpark Digest. And what it was there's youth baseball all over the place. So there's a league of 11 and 12-year-olds playing baseball. This was in Brooklyn at the time. And it was the Brooklyn Bluebirds playing the Ice Screaming Eagles.
Okay.
And a bus pulls up to where these kids are playing baseball. Now, it had obviously been worked out in advance, but the kids had no clue what was going on. And this guy, King Henry, who is one of the on-field entertainers for the Brooklyn Cyclones, which is a Mets farm team. They play in Coney Island, right off the boardwalk. You can see the Wonder Wheel. You can see the steeplechase. It's a great, great little ballpark in Brooklyn. And then when you're done, you can walk to Nathan's and get a hot dog there. Bus pulls up.
Unless your last name's Chestnut.
There you go. Right. Not anymore. Right. Exactly. Persona non grata. And King Henry gets off the bus with two mascots for the Cyclones. And a couple of the kids pop up and go, "Hey, that's King Henry. What? And he takes out a bullhorn. He's going, wah, 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 wah. Come on, kids. We got to go. And the kids are going, what? He said, on the bus, all of you. And he takes the two teams, put them on the bus, and they drive them over to MCU Field, which is where the Cyclones play in Brooklyn and Coney Island. The kids get off the bus. They're taken into the locker room. There's jerseys for every one of them for the two different teams. There's jerseys for all of them. The kids are running around in the professional locker room. They move the bases in about 30 feet, so the kids aren't doing the full bases. And the kids are now playing baseball. And it's fabulous because then they look up, and on the video screen, every one of the kids, there's a picture and a bio for the kids as they're up at bat. It's brilliant.
That's awesome.
Yep. They did it last year, the same thing. They did it last year, and they went to a different destination.
Colleges have, even Flagler has like the screen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
these are 10 and 11-year-old kids.
That didn't exist when I was a kid.
Yeah, no. And it used to be a Jumbotron. Now the freaking caliber and quality of these screens is amazing.
Well, I can tell you this, and I got to play on some cool stadiums when I was playing softball, traveling around playing softball. But one of the coolest things, I don't know if you were here in Florida or if you visited Florida, but down near Kissimmee, there was a theme park. It was Circus World, and then it became Boardwalk and Baseball. And at Boardwalk and Baseball, when they opened Boardwalk and Baseball, I was playing at Flagler College, and we were the game that was the opening game at Boardwalk and Baseball, and then the Royals were an affiliate after that. But we played the first game at Boardwalk and Baseball, and I can tell you this, there was a ball hitting the gap. I was playing center field. The sod was so new, when I went to plant my foot went all the way underneath the sod. All right? And at this time, I had a pretty decent arm, and it's one of those throws that you really remember where the ball just gets away from you. Sometimes when you have a good arm, the ball just gets away from you. Yeah. And I hit some people in the box. I was throwing. Somebody tagged up on me. I was playing center field. Someone tagged up on me, and I let it get away from me. And I hit someone in the box where it has, they have the metal rails in the box behind the dugout, and it hit, I swear it hit pipes 3 times before it hit people. Ooh. And it was like, ding, 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 ding. I was like, oh, God. It was probably the biggest crowd I'd ever played in front of in my entire life. And I threw it into the stands. Obviously, the guy scored, I remember that throw, like probably my most embarrassing error I ever made.
That's when you wish for a much bigger baseball hat to pull down over your head.
And I already looked like Lupus. I probably weighed 130 pounds, and the uniform never fit. I looked like the booger-eating moron from Bad News Bears anyway.
So. Okay, so you're building a ballpark. Mm-hmm. Grass or turf?
New turf's completely different, but I always take Bermuda grass over everything. So Bermuda grass over everything. Mm-hmm. For my playing career, I would have an infield as long as I'm playing the outfield. I would have an infield that's made of turf.
Okay.
Because I'm a slap and run guy, so like I need
you need one of the big bounce.
I need the high hoppers,
Right.
and I need the Willie McGee hits.
Yeah.
And the Vince Coleman plays. So I need those type of plays in my favor. But for my body and everything else, turf's got to be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much softer and better.
Yeah,
Though it's come a long way.
And the burns on the original ones, and this
yeah.
On this field at Boardwalk and Baseball, the infield was turf and the outfield was grass.
Right.
Which I wasn't too terribly upset about because you didn't really have the rainouts. Because if you have the rainouts, it usually happens on the clay. But and it was the old turf, and there was a situation where I had to dive, and I rug burned both my forearms.
Yeah.
Really bad, and it was indoor outdoor carpets. All it was.
Well, that's on concrete. Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's
it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, the old Veterans Stadium was the football players. I don't even understand how they survived.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine getting tackled on that.
Right, and I'm hoping to think that they've changed the substructure under these things now.
It's so much better. Even the artificial turf fields we have here. When I was Parks and Recreation director, because we were getting overpopulated with the number of fields we have, like Bermuda. I'm going to sound very nerdy grass wise. A Bermuda field can handle about 300 hours of play. Okay. Turf field doesn't have a limit on it.
Right.
The new fields have like threads that are this like 4 inches long, and then it's filled in with beads. Now they've even went to
rubber pellets. Yeah,
they've even went to even better product, the pellets. So it has that give. Problem with the pellets was it got so hot, and if you got tackled on it, it would actually the pellets could go into your eyes. Yeah. So now they've improved that. So the technology of the new turf fields is really, really impressive.
Well, the pellets are wind it up.
Oh,
and the wind up.
Are we overtime? See, I knew we were going to go overtime on this one.
What, don't we always?
You asked me a question, and then we're overtime.
No one cares about the pellets.
Yeah. All right. But if you guys would, hopefully you enjoyed the show. We appreciate you guys so much. Support our sponsors. Hit that share button. And this is Bollox Talks and Tangents. We'll see you next week.
Yes, we will.